So this morning's topic is spiritual gifts of life's transitions. And I think you all have noticed that we're living in a time where everything is extraordinarily speeded up. My belief is that there's great light emerging out of great darkness on the planet right now. And we each are embodying that in our own personal process. We each see the forms in our own life that have been falling away, sometimes taken from us painfully. Sometimes we just cannot stand to stay in an old form that we've outgrown. And our own personal human path is definitely the microcosm of a major movement that's occurring all over the planet. When we're going through our life transitions, you're actually in an extraordinary state of grace. And it doesn't feel like grace quite often when we're in a life change. Someone you love may have been taken from you. Some job or career you identify as being so critical to your well-being in the world may have evaporated, you may have been fired, the job may have disappeared, a home you love, you may be in the process of moving out of, as I am in my life right now, a beloved home where I thought I'd live for the rest of my life. We should never think anything is for the rest of our life. That's a setup. So when these forms that we identify with as us are dropping away or being peeled back from us, it hurts. It's difficult. It makes us go, but I am that person who's in this love relationship, who lives in this house, who works at this place, who has this kind of body, and now I'm in a health crisis. And these are actually the miracle moments in life where Spirit is inviting us into a bigger sense of being than the one we've been occupying. And when we give ourselves to the change process, an enormous grace comes rushing in. Enormous mentors and helpers and Spirit is present to say, you're not alone. We're here, both in bodies and out of bodies, beings and guides and loved ones and helpers. And suddenly we see that there's an old pattern of being that we have been living out of that no longer lines up with the person we have become. Something has to change. And the something starts with the outer forms of our life, but it's because the being we are in that house of those old forms is no more. It has evolved, and that's what's supposed to be happening. So when we go to the giftedness in what's ending, then something beautiful is coming in. And the beautiful thing that's coming in is you. Freed of an old limiting pattern of being that you once created all of this form out of. And now you've changed. You're operating at a higher level of vibration, of consciousness. So the old form has to shift. It may not have to go away. It doesn't mean you have to sell your house, get a divorce, and quit your job. But the way you inhabit the form has to change, or it will be very difficult, very frustrating, very deadening. And when we're in that change, and what feels like our own skin is getting peeled off, we have to give ourselves to the process and stand in the dignity and the grace of it. There's a dignity in letting go, but we don't get it if we're fighting and trying to keep up the old persona of the old way we used to be. That just doesn't work anymore. So that is the first gift I find in change. When you're going through a life transition, what is the old pattern of being that just doesn't serve me anymore? I'm too big for it. I can't live from that anymore. What a gift to have that old stuff peeled away and find out who is getting born out of this. Who is coming through? and welcome her in, welcome him in. The new being that is you. The whole new life waiting to unfold out of that different sense of being. And that is good stuff. That is the juice of life. But you don't get it if you cling on to the old. And who among us does not cling? But the clinging is what teaches us how to unpry ourselves from what we thought was us and find out, oh, there's a mat to fall on, there's loved ones around, there's something new coming in that I couldn't see when I was in the old form. What a grace and a gift that is to us. Change means that the forms we once related to no longer resonate with our highest self. And if you are in a job that you hate going to, where you feel dead, where you feel like you have to compromise who you actually are to go show up there, you have, and this you can fill in the blank of job with lover, marriage, home, place, way of being. You have a few alternatives. You can keep trying to keep on keeping on, and that is not much fun. You can try to change the form itself so the new you can inhabit it with joy, with fullness, with authenticity. Or you can gracefully say, thank you, you have given me much. I honor the good. I'm grateful for the lessons. And now I bid you farewell. And that is the process of integrating your endings consciously. This past winter, my husband Ken and I spent the winter living in Maui, which was wonderful, of course. And while we were there, we loved it so much, we thought, well, maybe we should relocate and move to Maui. So we're in that conversation. There's a very good possibility we will do that. But we're also paying attention day by day. What feels right? What's showing up? What's really the right calling? And I wanted to make it very conscious for myself, if I do leave Santa Fe after 16 wonderful years here, how do I want to leave Santa Fe? What's the closure I want to feel? So I leave here feeling whole, and it just feels all good. And that means allowing myself some grief for what I'm letting go of, including being in this beautiful community of the celebration that I will miss very much. It means inviting in closure with people that I may not have had sufficient closure with. So I made a commitment to myself in January to have a year of extraordinary conversations, that my ending may be complete. And then, being a good organized person with lots of planets in Virgo, I started making a list of all the people I should have these extraordinary conversations with. And then I just threw it away and laughed and said, Christine, forget it. And one by one, it's been amazing. The universe keeps sending into my path people and extraordinary conversations of healing and honoring, in which I've been able to stand and go, wow, I see who I was when this relationship was occurring and the breakdown that happened, and I see who I am and who this person is, and aha, it's just a wonderful moment of revelation and healing, piece by piece. I just can't wait to see who the next one will be. I also was thinking about my vision going forward. And I think the one major mistake we make in going through a major life change, a major life transition, is we want to hurry up and have a jazzy new form in place. And that is when you are doomed to repeat the old pattern of being in a new form. And it may look like a different man, a different woman, a different job, a different whatever. But eventually you're going to show up the same way you did in the old form if you haven't completed what you needed to learn. Then something new can come in that's spectacular and that you never would have thought of. With your biggest thinking, you never could have conceived what was possible in your life. And that is a wonderful thing to welcome in. But we have to allow some time in the mystery of not knowing between the end of the old form and the new form coming in. And it's hard for the ego to tolerate the mystery.